Well, I've decided to make a stool to go with the clerk's desk that I've just completed. So I've picked up some dimensions here off of other stools, and I made a prototype on the height and sat on it. So I'm fairly convinced that I like the size. So here's some dimensions there. And so we're going to make the top there's going to be 1.5 inches, and the legs are going to be 1.25 inches. Here's a piece of 1.5 inch maple that I've scribed a 12-inch circle on that I'm going to cut out and use for the seat. So I'm going to cut it out on the bandsaw. So I've got the 4 legs cut out here, 1.25 inch square, and I'm going to just turn the top 1.5 inch so that they're round as they go into the seat. And I've got to be careful because the legs will be splayed at 5 degrees, so and of course they're double splayed, so that's a compound angle there at the top. So I'll stop short of that and then cut the angles with the saw. Just turning the ends here so that they fit into the holes that we just drilled into the seat bottom. That was a 1 inch. These are 1.25 inches, so I've got to take a little bit off. That's how much we're going to take off. Well, as you can see here, we had lots of practice holes. So this was a piece that I made originally where I drilled some 5-degree holes in it, and was somewhat happy with it. And then I drilled a practice piece here with 5-degree and assembled it, and it just was not enough splay to the legs. So Doug Mulder came over, and we played with it for a while and ended up deciding that it needed to be 10 degrees, not 5 degrees. And so we drilled some 10-degree holes in here, and the way we did that was Doug convinced me that I didn't have to angle it at a compound angle. We just set the table here at 5 degrees, I'm sorry, at 10 degrees, and then drilled and just turned it as we went around the circle to put the 4 holes in there that were necessary. So since it was perpendicular to the drill bit, both this way and that way, it ended up being correct. So that's what we ended up with, a 10 degree. And then since I had the piece, I rounded over the edge with a router bit, so I was practicing at various depths on this other piece before I did it on the good top. So that's how we got to where we are. Well, I'm gluing up the stool now, so I had rounded over the edges of this pad there, and then cut wedges into the legs here, as you can see, and then pounded the wedges in. The whole thing is full of glue at the moment, but I'll saw them off later flush, and then we're gonna scrape the glue when it gets a little more solid here. So after sanding it to 180 and gluing it up, then I trimmed the tenons off the top, the wedges and the tenons off the top, as you can see here. And then I pre-wetted and then sanded off the dust nubs with a 320 grit. And now I've applied 2 coats of the trans tint dye that I had on the desk over there. So it's drying now, and when it's dry, I'll rub it out again because it picks up a little bit of fuzziness there, and so I'll probably take that off with steel wool and then start with the tung oil Waterlux to finish it, and then we'll be done with this project. First coat of oil on it. Now I had sanded it off with 320 grit and then wiped it down, and now I've applied the first coat of Waterlux, and it's got a nice glow to it. And since the legs were made out of the same stock as the desk, then we've got that figure in there. The top was not, but I don't think it matters too much. So we've got a few more coats to put on, and then this will be done. Well, there you have it. It's waxed and ready to go. So another completed project. So we'll have to start to take a look at what the next project will be.